Welcome to LandAcademy. This is the Cash Flow from Land show, where we show you how to buy unwanted vacant land and sell it for more on the internet. I'm Steve Butala.
I'm Jill DeWit.
We are your hosts. With over 15,000 completed transactions, we are the experts in this niche land flipping business.
We hold a drawing to win a free property every month. Enter to win by reviewing this show on iTunes and downloading our free ebook at LandAcademy.com. All right, let's get this show started.
Stephen Jack Butala here for LandAcademy. Welcome to our Cash Flow from Land show. We show you how to buy property for half of what it's worth and resell it the next day. Great information and instruction from me, Jack.
And inspiration from me, Jill.
In this episode, Jill and I talk about the number one reason people don't succeed. And here's a hint. They're working on the wrong stuff. Mm-hmm. If that seems oversimplified, it's because it is. And I think the most simple stuff ends up being the most helpful at times. Jill, great show today. Before we start, let's take a question posted by one of our members, directly by one of our members on successplant.com, our free online community.
Awesome. Okay. I purchased your program, Cash Flow from Land, and sent out a mailer. From that, I bought several properties, just like you said, for a few $100s each. So I posted my first property 2 days ago. Nice. Today I received a call from a cash buyer. He said he needs time to catch up with the money. It's listed for I saw this one. It's listed for $3,850, $3,850.
First one at the top.
He can come up with $3,000 in a week, but he needs 3 weeks for the full amount. I'd really like to get the full amount since this mailer was pretty slim, and I know I priced it right. Good. How should I go about this? Is there a contract he should sign saying he'll purchase in 30 days? Or could I get some earnest money with a time frame to buy? Also, the deed has not been recorded yet. I'm mailing it off tomorrow and just want to go ahead and get it listed. Is this a problem? Thanks, gang. From Chaz.
Do you want to go first or should I?
You go ahead.
So the number one thing is this. It's Chaz, right? Mm-hmm. The number one thing is that do not remove it from the market. So I don't assume that this sale is done at all. You don't ever assume the deal's done until the check is cashed. And I don't mean like you receive the check till you cash the check is what I mean. So first, make sure that you market this property all the way through. So and put it up on all the venues and don't take it down. As far as a contract goes, I would very simply put together less than one page agreement that says, I agree to sell it, you agree to buy it, you need to send X amount of money to me by this date. In this case, I think it's $3,000, and then on the $850, you guys can work it out on the back end. Let's say in another whatever amount of days. And yes, I would ask for some money down. And I would almost always try to do this as fast as you can in response to their initial inquiry. People lose interest. Mm-hmm.
I love it, and I like I take the money down and have it really talk about it. I mean, I'm all good with being understanding. If the guy's really it's coming in this day. I've got this coming. I'm positive and everything. Great. I'm totally happy to work with somebody. Put it in writing, Steven said, and then there's no questions.
And don't make a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
I call, let's be all Jill about this. Just chill out about it, have some fun with it, and just, make the person feel super, super, super comfortable.
Exactly.
And then if somebody offers you $5,000 for it next week, then you can just figure out how to get out of it.
You're such a stinker. That's all. Rip it up, send it back with his money. Here you go. Change my mind. You are Steven.
Hey, if you have a question or you want to be on the show, call 800-725-8816.
You are funny.
So what's the topic today? What's the number one reason I think people don't succeed? They're not working on the right stuff. Mm-hmm. I'll give you a few examples. I see this in Bigger Pockets all the time, and I answer questions in Success Plan all the time about this one thing. And it starts out like this. Hey, Steve, I'm looking at a deal, and the rest of the question, you can fill it in. Should I buy it? Shouldn't I buy it? The roof's falling in. Is the property located properly? What they're really asking is, am I going to make any money on this thing? And my answer is always some version of this. You should not even be looking at real estate if you haven't spent a couple of months learning about how to use data. Mm-hmm. Because if you're sourcing these transactions from the MLS, or you're driving for dollars, all the stuff that we talk about in all the places all over the internet that you shouldn't be doing. I know it's tempting, but you really need to take at least 2 weeks, probably a month if you're brand new. Look at our cash flow from land, purchase it, study it, and then really all over the internet, find out how professionals and experts like Jill and I use data and bulk mail printing to get multiple offers right in front of somebody, so that they sign a certain percentage of them, sign them and send it back, and you choose the best ones. You know what, Jill? You just, right before we sat down to record, you told me a story about a guy in Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
Who's a new member, a brand new member in Michigan. I think you spoke with him directly on the phone.
Uh-huh.
And before he even, he did not purchase any products from us at all. Mm-hmm. He went and got our free ebook. And then you tell the rest of the story, please.
Oh, it's awesome. He and his girlfriend were looking to buy a duplex. So he said, I have to admit, I did some driving for dollars, and I get it now. I'm kind of over it, but I think this is fantastic. He and his girlfriend isolated 22 duplexes in the area they wanted to invest. And they hand wrote letters to all these sellers. He got... Well,
were they sellers or were they just owners?
Excuse me.
So it's not for sale property at all.
Correct.
I guess they probably just tested it. I wouldn't recommend writing 22 letters, by the way. You're really setting yourself up to fail. But we teach, you get access to a database, and you do this in front of a computer, not driving around. But the result was fantastic.
Oh my gosh. Well, and the big picture is he's like, okay, I get it. This can work. And that's what I said on, okay, so let me tell you the result. So 22 letters, 75% response yielded the beautiful duplex that they want, that they're closing on the end of the month.
That's exactly what we're talking about. And I'm sure, did he disclose the price that he paid, or what, how much cheaper did he buy it this way, sending handwritten letters versus going out to buy one for market price?
Told me that it was assessed at $124, and I think they paid $118. And they're just so excited. So, what we talked about too is, okay, now think about this. Think of what you could do in, sending out, instead of 2,200, offers, and having that come back and looking at things.
Right. So what I would do in that, exactly, Jill. So 75% is unbelievable. I wonder if that just means a 75% response or signed
response. I didn't get into the details as far as, was there an offer in there? Was it just, hey, I'm interested? I don't know. But it was enough that got their phone ringing.
Right.
And that's the goal. So, and here's what you and I are big on. Okay, let's do this. Let's make 2,200.
Exactly. Or 22,000.
And what we're offering is a lot, even less money. Okay. So he definitely won. He's got this income. He proved it. Now it's like, all right, let's think about this. So it's 124. What if you paid 65 for it, or 70?
Now you're talking.
Because that's out there. Let's send 2,200 and go for that property, because that is what can happen.
And that is working on the right stuff. So he obviously studied this, some version of it. Probably didn't spend it. He didn't. Well, now he's purchased all of our products now, but because he tested it for himself and it worked. But imagine if, instead of driving around, he learned from us about how to utilize data, the data to doorstep program that we have, and then sent out exactly what Jill said. So now, if the ARV, or the market value of these duplexes, is generally $125,000, I personally would send out 2,000 or so letters, and identifying which duplexes are what through data instead of driving around. There's lots of ways that assessor's data can show you, the assessed value. It's zoned for multifamily, the whole thing. It's really easy. Very, very, it's much easier than you really think. The first time doing anything's a little bit tough sometimes, but once you get over that hump, it pays out in spades. And I'd find the 2,000 properties in the market that they're interested in, and I would offer, maybe 60.
That's what I was thinking.
60 to $70,000, maybe even less in some cases. and then see which ones come back. So in that situation, because I think they're going to live in one side, right?
I don't know.
In that situation, it's like, boy, then if you don't need a 75% response. 75% returns concerns me.
It's awesome.
Right. I mean, concerns me in like, that's great. I would be concerned. It's like, why is everybody want to sell?
I didn't ask that many questions. It could have been are you interested in selling?
Yeah.
Which would yield a big response.
Oh, that would yield a 75%.
I would be like, heck yeah. Cause it doesn't matter what I own,
Yeah.
For the most part, are you interested in selling? Heck, I'll sell my own house out from under me.
Right.
Sure. What do you want to offer?
Right.
Kind of thing. So it could have been something like that. But the bottom line is it worked and it did yield a property. And the bigger thing is it yielded a property that wasn't on the MLS, wasn't out there for sale, did it the right way. Because if you wait for that for sale sign in the driveway, then you're like, oh shit,
it's too late.
It is.
Somebody else got there first. Mm-hmm. All you need, if you had a 2,000 unit mailer out, all you need is a 1% response.
Yeah.
That's 20 properties.
Right.
And when I say response, I mean a signed offer back in the mail for the price that you offered, not, hey, give me a call and let's talk about it and negotiate it. There's no negotiating. You offered $65,000. The letter got signed. You can bank on a 1% response, even your first time out if you're choosing the right area. And that's it. Now you're buying property for half price.
Exactly.
So the topic it keeps coming back to the topic of the show. I see people doing the wrong stuff, especially super new people in real estate investing, REI. And they're wondering why it doesn't work, or they get real discouraged because the first deal didn't work out. And it's just because you looked at a deal or a piece of real estate before you learned how to do this the proper way, and maybe made it a bad acquisition decision, or not bad, an uninformed one, which is easy to fix.
Well, you know what I think? I think for some reason, there's a lot of people out there doing it the old way. They still have not figured out, and I feel silly saying this, but I'm like, we have the internet now, folks. You don't have to, it's like, imagine going and walking on a used car lot and just trusting that the price on that car is a good, fair price. Who is going to do that nowadays? I hope nobody. I hope you're going to get out your phone and your computer and you're going to look up KBB. Let's look up Kelley Blue Book. What should I really be spending on a car this age, this whatever? Just basically using data to help you make a decision. That's the bottom line.
That's it. Not
the old way, not trusting, not, well, they have a license. They right? No. He's been doing this business forever. I'm sure it's all good, but I mean, do your homework and do it the right way. And my thing too is don't waste a lot of time. That's what I see is people sometimes don't get it. I'm like, okay, you could be saving so much time right now and not going over this. You got this printout from the county. Fantastic. All right. How many hours did you spend poring over that information, trying to figure it out? And by the way, then you got to enter it in your computer to send something out. That's crazy.
There's no downside to this. People ask us all the time, okay, great. So you guys have it figured out. You've done 15,000 deals. What's the downside? There's got to be what's the catch? There has to be something bad. Well, I'll describe exactly what happens, and you tell me if there's something bad. You get access to through us, the best data in the country. It's literally it's access to a database that's constantly being updated by all the separate assessors all over the country. You learn from us how to manage that data and then send out offers to all over the place. I mean, it takes me, I've been doing it for a lot of years, less than an hour to get maybe 10,000 offers in the mail. A very super new person who's got a regular job, it probably takes 2 weekends to get through under our direction, or maybe one. I don't know. Depends on the person. And then now you're up to speed. And so the amount of time that you're going to spend, driving for dollars and all, there's no downside. Mm-hmm. People love to buy these properties or sell their property without having to go through all the stuff with an agent and the whole thing. Mm-hmm. So
Exactly.
I'm proud of these guys in Michigan that did this duplex
I
thing.
know. I think it's the coolest thing.
It's
And then she's on board. I mean, this is perfect. I was talking about like could be like you and I, Stephen, because he sounds like the analytical one.
I would love to have him on the show.
Well, we talked about that too.
Maybe with the girlfriends. Yeah, that'd be fun.
That's the key. We talked about. I'm gonna say we want you both because that would be really fun. I'd love to do that. So
it's time for the if-then segment of the show. If you do X, then Y will happen. If you want to buy real estate for way less than it's worth and immediately sell it for more, then make a task A to task B to task C plan. You want to buy super cheap real estate, make a plan, then make a plan. So in this case, I just jotted this down quickly, Jill. A, take a couple of weeks and learn about using data and direct mail. B, get the tools to do that, access to a database and the use of a professional bulk mail printing entity. Hey, turns out we provide all of those. And then C, get these offers in the mail and see what happens. Get the results back. If you want to make some dough buying cheap real estate and selling it immediately, get the right tools, get some education, the right tools, and make sure you're working a plan that you come up with. You can use our plan or you can come up with one for yourself, but make sure you're doing it under a plan, not just spending your Sunday driving around looking at open houses or whatever. If you have a question or you want to be on the show, call 800-725-8816. Jill, I bet you have some wisdom for us today.
I do. So here's my inspiration for the day. It's kind of something to think about. Why do people sometimes think that using connections or the inside track is cheating?
Oh my gosh, that's brilliant.
You know how people do that? It's funny how people come across like, oh no, I can't. That's kind of a cheating.
It's brilliant.
Why is that cheating?
Why do people sometimes along those lines think that suffering or it takes 8 years to learn how to do something that's the right way?
That's a good point too.
It has to be hard and I have to suffer and I have to feel bad while I'm doing it before I'm going to get anything good out on the other side.
That makes no sense. Maybe you might just be good at it and you should go for it. There's a thought. So so that was my thing just to think about. And for me, I've never thought that way.
I'm trying to think if we have a handful of members who are really trying to make this harder than it is.
Yeah, there are.
I mean, obviously, without naming names, is there a good example that comes to mind right away?
No, I'm trying to. Well, no, but I can tell. I can't give you exact, but I can tell. I can see the people that don't think that way. I mean, they know they're making a good decision because they did A, B, C, D, and they're not looking back. And so it's like, you know what? I know I did my homework. I know I did. I'm not going to overdo it because then I'll never get anything done. I'm just going to go with it. So
here's a good positive example of a question that I answered today. A lot of times you get the same questions over and over, but this guy, he's a relatively new member, did everything that we teach, and he's in the downloading phase of getting the data and chose the data properly and the whole thing. And he ran into a tiny little snag and he handled it like a tiny little snag instead of throwing his arms up and saying that this is never going to work. And the formatting for a couple of the APNs in the counties that came out, it just wasn't working for him. And I've run into this issue for years, and it's a real easy fix. He directly emailed me. I directly answered the question, helped him out, and he's like, man, that would have taken me 2 weeks to figure out. Thank you so much. So it's that kind of stuff where I think that some people can choose a littlest thing like that, get all hung up, just like you said, make it hard for themselves, take 3 weeks to figure it out, instead of just saying, I'm sure between Jill and Steve and their staff, they can solve this for me pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm. So, you don't get a trophy for that, by the way. No, I mean, you don't get a trophy for putting all the time in. Oh, I did it. I figured it out on my own.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that. Use your resources.
You do get a trophy by putting a ton of money in the bank, buying cheap real estate.
That you do get a trophy, and that is perfect. Your balance sheet is a good trophy.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
my personal trophy. Oh, that's an
We should have a
inspiration.
balance sheet of the year.
Balance sheet trophy.
I worked a long time ago. I did some bunch of consulting work at KPMG for a nonprofit healthcare group. And what I learned through that is, nonprofits are way different than for-profits. For-profits, it's super clear. We're here for profit. Nonprofit, they're supposed to do some good. That's why they don't pay taxes, because they're making this world a better place. And in accounting, so both entities are treated really differently from an accounting standpoint. And how you gauge how financially successful a nonprofit is a net change in assets. And I'm not so sure that's so far off for us either.
I think we're doing some good.
I know we're doing some good. No, but instead of saying looking at net income, a nonprofit looks at a net change in assets. And I think that's pretty healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Did I just go off on some way?
Totally.
I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh.
It happens all the time.
Oh, welcome to my world, everybody.
Hey, join us in another episode where Jack and Jill discuss how to use information, that's me,
And inspiration, that's me.
to get just about anything you want. We use it every day to buy property for half price and sell it for more immediately. Good show today, Jill.
Mm-hmm.
I am having a tough time working in this paradise that we're in right now.
I know. It is kind of hard. I can't wait to go back and listen and see if you can hear the ocean in the background.
It probably sounds like static in a hallway, but
Exactly. It really is the beach.
I was thinking during the show that you and I are on the process of trying to buy a pretty large boat.
Mm-hmm.
So what would I do? I made all the mistakes that I talk about. I started looking on the internet to see what's for sale and spent
8 hours in Yacht World.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, there
8 hours
we
an hour. And that's the exact thought that I had.
Uh-huh.
What the hell is it that we tell everybody to do? Don't buy for sale anything.
Right.
So I went, and this is now 5 hours later after that, secured all the ownership records for all the boats in the state of California, well, in the whole country. And then drilled it down, just like we do with RealQuest, drilled it down, and I've identified 1,100 possible boats for us to buy. And I'm next week going to send out, I'm going to film all, we're going to do a show on this. I've already started to record it in the internet, and we're going to buy a boat. Mm-hmm. We're going to buy an extremely expensive boat for less than 10%. That's my goal.
Okay.
Less than 10% of what other boats are selling for on the internet retail. And we're going to film it and the whole thing, and I'll show you, we're going to go walk through the boat, the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Walk through the boats that the letters that we get back and the ones that are a fit for us. We're going to film it going through the whole deal.
Excellent.
Might be a disaster, might be awesome. But every single time I've ever tried to do this with not just with real estate, but with everything, like you just did it with, Jill, you just did it with
vacation stuff.
Getting a vacation, 1 month vacation rental. Mm-hmm. And we're paying what, 20% of what the face value is?
Yeah.
So we'll see what, it's hard to have a good show. And I don't know. It's probably never as bad as we think, right?
It's awesome. Hey, the beach is calling.
Let's go buy something for half price today and resell it. Jack and Jill, information and inspiration.
We hold a drawing to win a free property every month. Enter to win by reviewing this show on iTunes and downloading our free ebook at LandAcademy.com.
If you want to get involved or you need more information about our profitable, niche real estate operation, call 480-467-0359. You just might get Jill at the other end of the line.
LandAcademy.com. You are not alone in your real estate ambition.